It's the story that refuses to rest. Meghan Markle's pregnancy, the royal birth that was supposed to unite hearts around the world, is now under the microscope again. Candace Owens has stepped forward, claiming that the details just don't add up, and what's more, she isn't standing alone. An alleged insider from Portland Hospital, the very place Meghan says she gave birth, has supposedly revealed details that never should have seen the light of day. And if true, those whispers could rewrite one of the most protected royal narratives in modern history. But before we dive into what this insider says, let's pause for a second. How did we get here? How did the fairy tale of the modern royal couple turn into a maze of inconsistencies, medical mysteries, and missing details? Because once we trace the steps, from Harry's own memoir Spare to hospital protocol, and even royal tradition, what emerges isn't just confusion. It's something that feels deliberately rewritten. In Spare, Harry gives us one of the simplest, yet strangest details. 2 epidurals, a quick delivery at Portland Hospital, and somehow home at Frogmore Cottage in just 2 hours. At first glance, that sounds like the speed of a fairy tale. But when you break it down, the drive time, the medical recovery, the discharge procedures, the royal security detail, none of it fits together. Now, I'm not here to repeat what Owens or anyone else said, but think about this logically. If any regular person claimed they left the hospital 2 hours after giving birth with 2 epidurals, people would raise an eyebrow. Yet, this was the royal couple, a family constantly under scrutiny, yet somehow this part of the story was accepted as gospel. And here's the strange thing, the more you look into the timeline, the more it bends. Not just medically, but symbolically. Because if the timeline doesn't hold up, what else doesn't? Portland Hospital, luxury, privacy, prestige. But it's not a spa. It's a specialized clinic built for high-end maternity care, not a palace suite with scented candles. Harry's account paints a serene, candlelit room, a birthing ball, a calm energy. But people who actually know Portland say, that's not how it works. This isn't about attacking anyone's story. It's about how a supposedly verifiable medical event now reads more like a script. It's the difference between an Instagram version of birth and a medical reality where every move, every drug, every monitor is tracked with precision. So, where exactly were they that night? If the real Portland doesn't match Harry's story, then the question isn't just what happened. It's where did it happen? The 2 epidurals, the nitrous oxide, the casual tone. If you've ever talked to anyone in the medical field, you know this is not standard procedure. You don't just reduce spinal anesthesia mid-labor like a TikTok challenge. And that laughing gas moment? It might sound like a funny royal anecdote, but in a hospital, it's a serious breach of safety. If the details are wrong about something this basic, how reliable is the rest of the account? That's the real issue here. It's not about whether Meghan's story is dramatic. It's about whether it's accurate. Because when truth and presentation start to blur, that's when trust disappears. Now let's shift from medicine to monarchy, the other system that runs on protocol and precision. When a royal baby is born, certain rules are unshakable. The Queen at the time had to be notified immediately. It's not optional. It's centuries-old procedure. So when reports surfaced that she wasn't informed about Meghan going into labor, it wasn't just a missed call. It was a red flag, a break from royal order that no one could easily explain. Because royal births are national events, not private moments. They're logged, documented, verified, witnessed. Every date, every name, every title must align with history. So why, for this one royal baby, do the records feel more like a puzzle? Who decided to go off script, and what were they trying to protect? Then came the public contradictions, the interviews, the changing reasons, the emotion-laced explanations. First, the press wasn't told because of privacy. Then it was about safety. Then it was about racism. 3 reasons, 1 event. Each version carefully tailored to fit a different audience, yet none matching the actual hospital's operations. And when a story shifts that many times, it's not the inconsistencies themselves that matter most. It's why they shift. Because it often means the truth is still waiting in the shadows. This isn't the first time the royal narrative has split, but it might be the most fragile one yet. Because this time, the story isn't about scandal or tabloids. It's about credibility. Let's not forget, Meghan was in her late 30s when she gave birth, medically considered a higher-risk pregnancy. Such births involve tighter monitoring, strict rest, and longer recovery. Yet, just weeks later, she was traveling, appearing in public, radiant and poised. That's not impossible, but it's certainly uncommon for someone supposedly recovering from preeclampsia and multiple spinal procedures. So, was the narrative exaggerated for privacy or rewritten for perception? Either way, the cracks keep growing. And it's the smaller inconsistencies that make the story unravel even faster. The midnight food run to Nando's when Nando's wasn't even open. The secret elevator that staff say doesn't exist. The confusion about which doctor actually delivered Archie. Each small slip by itself might mean nothing. But when you line them up, they start to tell a different story. A story that sounds rehearsed. At this point, the fairy tale starts to flicker. What was once a story about a mother, a baby, and a royal miracle now feels like a carefully curated illusion. Because when timelines don't add up, when medical details defy logic, and when royal traditions are quietly broken, something deeper is at play. Maybe this isn't about birth at all. Maybe it's about control, about who gets to own the narrative of truth. And that's the question we'll be asking in the next chapter. If this part of Meghan's story isn't what it seems, what else was never meant to be discovered? The fairy tale may be fading, but the truth? The truth is only just beginning to speak. If you found this breakdown eye-opening, make sure to subscribe because this story is far from over. And as more voices begin to emerge from behind palace walls, you won't want to miss what's revealed next.